Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
My anus is bleeding.
He can't sit down.
They call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Beta male.
Get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you, don't do it.
Oops.
We're under attack. It is an alien force, not of this world. It's not human intelligence.
Bullshit.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Bullshit.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
Repeat the line.
Disappointed!
How you like that, boy?
No.
Give me a break.
Stop it.
Fired.
Fired! Fired!
Bitch, move it along.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
And why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated.
Stupid.
Throughout the nation, Waldorf Nation. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Friday. Oh yeah, TGIF. Been waiting for this. Literally all week. All right. Anyway, we've got fun stories. We also have some no-duh. We'll get to that, of course. And good stories as well. So, in fact, we have a fantastic story scheduled for the end of the show. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to love it because it's actually good news. A piece of goodness for once. Yes. I'm not going to give it away. We also have other good news, by the way, from Tennessee. Hilarious. Both hilarious and positive. So, look, it's going to be a fun day. Please like and share the stream. With that, why don't we dive in? Because there is a lot to go on and to cover. Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, what is this? What is going on here? Who are these people? Yeah, you'll see.
This outrage, complete outrage, where China is poisoning America's children, poisoning our teenagers, poisoning our young people. How long are you going to let this go on?
Congresswoman, let me assure you that we're not letting it go on. We are fighting this.
No, I reclaim my time. You're a liar.
And that was the moment where Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently went too far. That moment. Okay. So this caused her to be removed from a hearing by a Republican chairman. So let me just recap some of the things that happened in this hearing. Okay. So first, she completely went off the rails by accusing Representative Eric Swalwell, Democrat, of having an intimate relationship with a Chinese spy, a suspected Chinese spy. And then, of course, the crazy continued, culminating in what you just saw in that video, which is awesome. Okay. But wait, weren't her rights just flagrantly violated? What's next? Is he going to send
Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police?
Are they going to go after her? What if they use
Jewish space lasers?
Oh my God. Marjorie Greene, are you going to be okay? You going to be okay? Okay. Funny enough, There's another clip here. This was, again, another Republican that was forced to shut her up. Take a look.
It's pretty clear that the rules state you can't impugn someone's character. Identifying or calling someone a liar is unacceptable in this committee. And I make the ruling that we strike those words.
Personal inquiry, point of personal inquiry.
There's no such thing. Stand by just a second.
The point of personal inquiry literally doesn't exist. It's not a thing. What are you doing? I love just that little last part right there where no point of personal inquiry. You're done. Okay, you're done. This guy just delivered her a very tall glass of shut up juice. And it's great. So now, according to CNN, a source close to Mr. Greene, that is, of course, the GOP chairman of this particular committee, apparently he was furious. He was not happy with her. In fact, he had planned to privately reprimand her. Ooh, sounds serious. And said that he would encourage Speaker Kevin McCarthy to remove her from the committee if she ever had an outburst like that again.
Bitch, move it along.
That's basically the response there. So good. Now, here's why you can't do, these kinds of things. This is the halls of Congress, not a Newsmax interview. Turns out you can't just sit there and tell people that they're, call them liars, without any sort of evidence or do any of that kind of stuff. It turns out if you do, it's not going to go well. It's going to go poorly for you. Now, this would be, my opinion that this would actually be different had she actually been telling the truth about certain things or anything, but she was not telling the truth. She thinks, and again, getting to the substance of this, she thinks that Mayorkas wants people to be killed, by fentanyl or whatever she said about China poisoning our children, poisoning our youth. No, it's an insane idea made by insane people. But it gets funnier. So I have before compared her to a Karen. I've called her Marjorie Karen Greene before. And, well, unsurprisingly, just like a Karen, she went to go see the manager. I'm not kidding. According to CNN, she ran to Kevin McCarthy and talked to him about this. And apparently, according to an interview, she said, well, I talked to Kevin McCarthy. He agreed with me that I should not have been shut down like that. It was so unfair. She also said that McCarthy would never agree to pulling her off committees. Speaker McCarthy is never going to let that happen. Karen. Total Karen behavior. Wow. What's next? She's going to try to get somebody fired?
Fired! Fired!
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Daddy McCarthy, please protect me. Remember how I supported you? You have to support me now. Now, Greene, Marjorie Greene, told CNN later that she and Chairman Greene had a chance to talk, but they disagreed about what happened. Oh, really? Marjorie Greene not accepting the reality of the situation. What had actually happened? Disagreeing with reality. Wow, how? I mean, seems entirely on brand for Marjorie Greene.
Peachtree dish.
Okay, but here's what she said. He basically said that we have two different styles, so that we have a disagreement still about what took place yesterday. But I am still new to committees. That's because you got booted from your old ones. For doing dumb things. You already went through this before. And the only reason she has her committees now is because of how much she had backed Kevin McCarthy, putting her back on committees. But she said, I will make sure I'm following the rules, which I do think is important. But at the same time, I'm just going to keep pushing. That's right. She's just going to keep pushing everybody. Pushing nonsense conspiracy theories because that's literally what she was elected to do. God damn it. I mean, look, now as for Mr. Greene, he had a different take. He defended his decision and also refuted that McCarthy agreed with Greene. Quote, I had a conversation that was maybe a little different with him. Asked if the speaker agreed with this decision to silence Greene, the chairman simply said, we didn't really get into the details of it. Drama. Lots of drama. It's awesome. Just hilarious. Now, there are other GOP lawmakers on the committee that did put her on blast, although they did so anonymously. You know what that deserves.
Beta male.
Yeah, of course. Now, they did say that her behavior was an unnecessary distraction and that her outburst had wasted valuable hearing time. Yes. Yes, that's true. Now, there were a couple that did go on the record, including someone who considers themselves a friend of Marjorie Greene. This is Representative Tony Gonzalez. Here's what he said about Mr. Greene. I thought he did a good job managing the committee as best he could. But the sooner we can get back to kind of civility amongst colleagues, the better for everyone. Maybe we need to get everybody on a plane and take a codal somewhere and not be in Washington. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming that's a taxpayer-funded vacation. No, you don't need another vacation. Y'all don't work. And when you do, you make things worse for the rest of us. I don't know if it's worse, the fact that they don't work very much, or when they do, they get together and make things worse. So maybe they shouldn't work at all. But, okay, anyway. Now, Representative Dan Bishop, North Carolina, who was not in the room of the incident when it occurred, said he agreed with Greene's rhetoric, but stood by... he disagreed with Greene's rhetoric, but stood by her sentiment. Another GOP committee member, Representative Michael McCall of Texas, said, just completely sidestepped this issue, and said, we need to keep the message focused on the border, and then had also dismissed potential consequences for Greene's behavior, calling it, quote unquote, a McCarthy issue. It's a McCarthy issue. Ain't my problem. No, guys, it is your problem. You're literally the face of the Republican Party. You're not. The establishment isn't. She is. All the oxygen gets sucked out of the room whenever she enters. It's a you problem. Ain't our problem. Well, I guess maybe it is. It's America's problem. But the whole point of Marjorie Greene, remember, is that she's a rabid attack dog. That's it. This isn't a McCarthy issue. It's a Republican Party issue. And look, I don't mind that she's dragging the rest of the party down. I think it's freaking hilarious. But to say, oh, no, it's a Speaker McCarthy problem. Speaker McCarthy ain't going to do a damn thing against Marjorie Greene because because he is afraid of the voters. He is afraid of the base. Because that's the real power behind Marjorie Greene. That's the real power behind all of these MAGA people. The base. Who will punish, these politicians by trying to vote in more extreme ones. So, and we've seen that. Or at least an attempt to do that. So, I would say, thanks to McCarthy and the voters in Georgia, she's not just the Republican Party's problem. She is also America's problem. And, we have to find a way through our, voting, through democracy, to prevent her from getting reelected again. Maybe by running better candidates, doing some, investment in running better candidates against her, better messaging, either way, whatever way we do it in that regard, we got to get to it. Got to get working to try to defeat these extremists like Greene. All right, moving on. Let's get to other Republicans being unceremoniously dumped. Or in this case, dumping themselves. Apparently, I'm obsessed with dumps.
I know where.
They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
Okay. I also know words, though. The best words. The greatest words. The most tremendous word.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes Representative Scotty Campbell of Tennessee. For those who are not familiar who this is, this relates to the Tennessee Three. He was a member of leadership in the Republican Tennessee State House of Representatives, which is the same body that expelled Representatives Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and had attempted to remove, but failed, Gloria Thompson. In fact, Scotty Campbell had voted in favor of expelling them, for violating rules and decorum and all that good stuff. So now Pearson and Jones unanimously were voted, by their respective districts to be sent right back. Now there's going to be a special election, but so far Jones and Pearson have returned. But wait, it appears that Campbell, he's on his way out, gone. So what happened? Well, it turns out it's a sex scandal. I know, big surprise.
Sexual anarchy.
Let me give you the details. So Campbell resigned after he was found guilty of sexually harassing at least one legislative intern, but likely two, according to an ethics subcommittee that was acting in secret. This was according to a News Channel 5 investigation. According to a memo put out by the 4-member ethics committee, composed of 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, based on the completed staff investigation, the ethics subcommittee finds that Representative Campbell had violated the policies against workplace discrimination and harassment. Oops. About 6 hours after being questioned about this by News Channel 5 Investigates, Representative Campbell decided, nah, I'm out of here. We're done. Gotta go.
Fired! Fired!
Except he quit, so can't be fired because I quit first. Okay, so now during the questioning, Campbell had referenced a second intern who was also involved in the investigation, something that the News Channel 5 Investigates didn't actually know about before. Here's what he said, quote, "I had consensual adult conversations with 2 adults off property. I think conversations are consensual once that is verbally agreed to. If I choose to talk to any intern in the future, it will be recorded. I'm going to record my interns." Wait, why? What did you say? I mean, I was just having consensual conversations. Well, wait till you hear the details. Because once you get into them, you realize that, there wasn't really consensual. It was more of a one-way conversation. So in an email given to News Channel 5 Investigates by a family member, the victim provided a detailed account to officials at her university. Remember, interns, in this case, come from one of the nearby universities. So she is still a college student, and he's 39 years old. Bit of an age gap, bit of a difference here, like probably about around double the age. Now, her experiences with the Republican leader were not very positive. In fact, after seeing her and another 19-year-old female intern enter her apartment At the nearby Capitol Towers, the woman described how Campbell had made comments about how, while he was in his apartment, imagining that they were performing sexual acts upon each other, and how that drove him crazy knowing that it was happening so close to him.
Sexual anarchy.
Well, at least that's what he thinks was going on. But apparently that was not what was going on. She said, I uncomfortably explained that was not happening. And he insisted that he knew it was and asked me to tell him about it. Bro, you were being horny on Maine. She then explained, that's just my friend. And then he proceeded to describe how sexually attractive he found her, referring to the 19-year-old intern. There's more. On March 15th, the victim also recalled that she went to his apartment. They lived pretty close to each other in the same apartment building. Apparently, she returned a wrench that she had borrowed. Okay. He proceeded to ask how many men I've slept with, says the email to the university officials. I told him 0, and he insisted that I was lying and told me not to lie. He then proceeded to ask how many women I've slept with, and he said he bets girls go crazy over me. Okay, this is a guy who is attacking the LGBTQ community, right? Apparently having some lesbian fantasies. Family values, Republicans. Family value Republicans, man. That's... Now, not only that, the victim also claimed that Campbell had offered to give her cannabis gummies in order to see her tattoos and piercings. Come on. You know these people. They're all about projection. All about projection.
Sexual anarchy.
It is. It really, really is. Wow. This guy's in his apartment thinking,
there's some whores in this house.
I got to get into it. I got to get into it. No, that's not what's happening. You're just being a creep. You're being horny on Maine. Quit. Stop it. Like, go do something else. I don't know. Go watch like an adult movie or something. It's so creepy. It's so weird. Now, she responded, I told him absolutely not. He then begged me for several hugs. I was getting progressively more afraid and uncomfortable. He then allegedly reached out his hands towards me and grabbed me around my neck. I put allegedly in there because I don't know for sure. I recoiled and said that I felt sick and immediately left. That was the last night I ever spoke or saw him. I blocked his number after that. Now, there's also another part in the email where it says that Campbell had repeatedly made comments about wishing he had someone to cuddle with and that he was very, very lonely. That doesn't mean you need to be creeping on your neighbors, especially 19-year-old interns. Wow. In response to News Channel 5's questions, Campbell denied that any of these conversations had ever occurred. That's not true. News Channel 5 Investigates asked, so she's just making it up? To which he said, quietly, yes. Again, I had consensual conversations that were agreed to. And I'm really surprised that we are here this morning. Asked what he meant by consensual adult conversations, Campbell declined to say, saying private conversations are supposed to be private. Oh, I can understand why you want to keep your creepy conversations with 19-year-old college interns a secret. Party family values, folks. Now, Campbell, again, he's one of those people that had went on about the dangers of drag queens. You know, and more sexual immorality. Weird. No, it's all projection. These people are always, always incredibly horny on Maine. Now, the problem here is, well, other than, of course, that being the problem, but there's another problem. These people are part of a club, and the club protects itself. He was protected by other fellow Republicans, many of which who also had their own problems with, what was it?
Sexual anarchy.
That's what it is. In fact, despite accusations of sometimes incredibly vulgar comments and other inappropriate advances, Republicans didn't remove the 39-year-old East Tennessee lawmaker from his leadership position, nor from his committee assignments, and also had steered taxpayer money towards the intern in order to protect her from the creepy guy, but not remove the creepy guy. So they allowed him to stay in the office and tried to sweep, essentially, her under the rug. Here's how. According to News Channel 5, they have learned that potentially thousands of taxpayer dollars have been spent relocating the victim from the downtown apartment building where she and Campbell both had apartments, shipping her furniture back home to another part of the state, and placing her in a downtown hotel for the remainder of her internship. Legislative officials refused to say how much they have paid out, but admitted that they were paying out something. Oh, that information is confidential. We don't know how much we're going to try to keep this, keep the creep away from this intern. Now, the report also notes that Tennessee lawmakers faced repeated criticisms over the years for a lax approach to sexual harassment and discrimination. Not surprising at all. Wow. In April 2019, Representative Rick Staples, this is a Democrat of Knoxville, by the way, so it's not just Republicans, but it's mainly Republicans. He was found guilty by the Ethics Subcommittee for engaging in sexual harassment after an unnamed woman said he had grabbed and held onto her waist while standing behind her after he had made inappropriate comments about her appearance during a visit to the legislature. Staples then resigned from his leadership position with the House Democratic Caucus. In 2017, Republican Representative Mark Lavelle resigned after a sexual harassment investigation. Before that, in 2016, the House expelled Representative Jeremy Durham, a Franklin Republican, following an investigation that found that he had engaged in misconduct involving 22 women.
Sexual anarchy.
This election is about the people.
Was it? Was it? Wow. Tennessee. What is going on with you guys? And yet, to tie this whole thing back, these same people, well, maybe not these same people, since a lot of them got eliminated, but the same body voted to expel 2 young black men for breaking House rules by standing up for young people to ensure that they don't get shot. They don't end up being victims of gun violence. They'll take a stand on that. But when it comes to, a lot of these high-profile Republicans sexually harassing interns, doing sexual harassment. Oh, hell, I've already talked about the stories where you had one Republican peeing in another seat. All that stuff, pretty much unpunished. But, be young, black, and a strong advocate for justice. That's what gets you expelled. See who these people are. Part of your family values? No. It's a good old boys club. It's all it's ever been. Ooh, okay. How are they going to have their child workers if they keep getting shot? Good question. Good question. All right. Let's move on. We got more video here. This time, we're going to switch over to someone who did get shot. Ralph Yarl, but I'm going to talk about an interview that Ralph Yarl's, that Andrew Lester's grandchild had given to CNN, and I think it's most illuminating and unsurprising, by the way. Okay. The grandson of Andrew Lester, the 84-year-old Kansas City, Missouri man, accused of shooting 16-year-old Ralph Yarl for simply knocking on his door, says his grandpa is a racist, holds racist tendencies, and then goes on to, of course, to explain where those came from. I'm going to show you here some of that interview that he had on CNN with Don Lemon. Take a look.
I believe he holds racist tendencies and beliefs.
Why do you say that?
He's just a stock American Christian male. It's older, that's just how they are. It's the conspiracies and weird random racist things they say, and it doesn't make sense, but they're just scared.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean they're scared? Talk to me more, please.
It's just I feel like a lot of people of that generation are caught up in this 24-hour news cycle of fear and paranoia perpetuated by some other news stations, and he was fully into that, sit and watch Fox News all day, every day, blaring in his living room. And I think that stuff really kind of reinforces this negative view of minority groups and leads people to be doesn't necessarily lead people to be racist, but it reinforces and galvanizes racist people and their beliefs.
All right, so this guy was an avid watcher of Fox News and was racist. Who would have guessed? Oh, right. Everybody. Look, I said that before this even, this interview had, happened. What are the odds this guy watches Fox News? And the odds, pretty damn high. Pretty damn high. So now, according to a probable cause document, Lester claims that he was scared to death by Yarl's size and thought that his home was getting broken into. I wonder where you would hear that rhetoric of thugs breaking into your home. Weird. Yarl, he's 5'8" and 140 pounds. He's not exactly a giant person, but it wasn't about his size at all. We know, of course, it's about his color. Primed to be afraid, again, Andrew Lester, people like himself, Fox News viewers, are primed to be afraid of black males. Doesn't matter the age. Doesn't matter the size. They're primed to be afraid. I'm going to show you another clip here. Even more, he gets into more detail about the type of media he watches. Again, Fox News. And, well, how the efforts to try to push back on some of these racist ideas went.
A lot of it was the kind of QAnon level conspiracies about election denying, and then they got really weird with some Fauci dogs. I really didn't know what that meant, but I would push back on some of this stuff, and he couldn't handle being pushed back on. And at a certain point, we kind of lost touch, and I think it was more of his choice than mine.
Did he say or do things that you found offensive about minorities or people of color?
Yes, he would say some things. I think I can't remember exactly now all that happened, but I know he had something about, had a really hot take about abortion and how something about black women getting abortions. And I didn't know what he was talking about, but I said, I don't really want to talk to you about this anymore. This is racist and it's dumb. So let's move on. And I pushed back, and he didn't like that either at the time.
Yeah, they never seem to like it when you push back on their, terrible ideas. Even with, again, when you're using facts and logic, and you're saying, hey, like that's not, yes, that is race. Because how else are you supposed to explain to people that what they're saying is racist without calling it racist? Like, that's the thing that always confuses me about the right wing. They're like, why are you always calling why are you calling us racist all the time? That's because you're saying racist things. Like, I don't know how to explain to you that the things that you are saying are racist. I don't know how to spell it out for you that what you're doing is racist. I don't, maybe that's not something that I possess as a skill, you know, to be the racist whisperer and to let them know and to try to attempt to get past all the programming that they see on a constant basis, on a daily basis about Antifa and BLM. They're coming to your door. They're going to come and loot. They're going to loot your house. They're going to rape your wife. They're going to do all these terrible things to you. So you got to get your gun. You got to protect yourself. You see, this is the Second Amendment, you see, is for your home defense, but it's also to fight against tyranny. And then you've got these progressive prosecutors that won't go after the criminals. They're just letting them out on the streets. You got to do something right. In that case, look, Lester, he didn't have to set out to murder somebody. He didn't have to leave his house to go, you know, on a rampage. One unlucky person who just happened to go to the wrong house and to knock on his door, that was enough. His victim came to him. And these people understand that they can't wait to use their guns. They really can't. The thought process here, in my mind, that I think that he had was, this black kid's up to no good. Because I keep hearing this. I keep hearing all this terrible stuff. And so obviously they're coming for me. They're coming for me. And the only thing I've got is my gun. I mean, look, that's what happens when you get brainwashed. A lot of people have talked about losing, you know, members of their family to, like, you know, you hear all about the woke mind virus, right? No, there's an actual Fox News mind virus. It's the Fox mind virus. It gets into your head. It makes you paranoid. It makes you afraid of your fellow, you know, human beings, your fellow neighbors, and then urges you to arm up and to treat your house like a fortress. It's insanity. And unfortunately, with this insanity infecting at least, you know, millions of people in this country, a lot of people get hurt. Now, on Wednesday, Lester pleaded not guilty to 2 felonies and first-degree assault. That carries a maximum sentence of life in prison, as well as armed criminal action. Okay, so look, he's 84. So if he ends up actually being convicted, any prison time that he would get will end up being a life sentence. So, I mean, in that way, good, because you're keeping an obviously dangerous person, you know, off the streets. You're getting them, you know, somewhere where they belong, where they cannot harm another human being. But let me just show you, you know, or I should say that the last thing I want to mention here is just how this is a great example of how dangerous this country is for minorities. And not just, you know, for minorities now, because I've done a couple of stories here about the Texas cheerleaders being shot for being in the wrong place. The little 6-year-old girl that was shot at, you know, that was actually shot for riding her bike on the street. You have both right-wing media and gun culture and the culture of fear and paranoia that have gripped so many people. And again, a lot of it is driven by media and easy access to weaponry. It's not going to get better. Unfortunately, it's before it gets better, it's probably going to end up getting worse. Okay. And the father, mother, and daughter who were shot because the dad was playing with the daughter. Yeah. Okay. All right. More Republican insanity. You're going to love this one. On Wednesday, the Michigan Senate voted to repeal a prohibition on unmarried cohabitation of men and women. So, look, Democrats now control Michigan, and they're doing a lot of fantastic stuff. Some of the stuff they're doing is getting rid of some of the old zombie laws, including the ban on abortion, as well as apparently a ban on unmarried cohabitation. So this law, again, from 1931, the same time from the as the abortion ban, actually banned unwed men and women from living together. A couple found guilty of this could be jailed for no more than a year and fined up to $1,000. So it was never enforced, but technically still on the books. And you know who wanted to keep it on the books? At least half the Michigan GOP. I kid you not. They voted to keep this law on the books. Wow. So more details here. Senate Bill 56 strikes from Michigan law the idea that an unmarried man and woman living together are inherently committing lewd and lascivious behavior.
Sexual anarchy.
Lewd and lascivious behavior. Sounds like a fun time. As long as it's in your home. Couples, however, could not be prosecuted after 1 year from the time the offense was committed. So, look, growing up, I heard all this stuff like, oh, it's common law. It's common law marriage. It's common law. Even though they're not technically married. And now I understand that that's what that meant. After a year of living together, apparently in sin, it's common law marriage now. You know, kind of married, but not technically. Now, here's what one senator, this is a Republican, Thomas Albert, said about this. Quote, "This type of family structure lends itself to instability and is not the optimal environment for raising children. The problem is with this reform is that it fails to recognize the secondary effects. This is a policy I cannot get behind." I don't know why I'm using that accent. It's Michigan. "Because there is a clear and overwhelming evidence to show that it is better for children to be in a household with married parents." Okay, but is it better for people to be, raising a children, I guess, in committed relationships? I suppose. I mean, the other thing is, why is that the business of the government? Get out of our lives. Who cares? This is not an issue that should be, dealt with by state government and with potential criminal penalties. Again, the enforcement thing, nobody enforced this, at least not in my entire lifetime. It's stupid that it's even there. Why? Get out of our lives. And funny enough, by the way, I have to admit that I'm a lawbreaker. That's right. I'm a criminal. Come take me away. I'm a criminal. Well, at least I was. I lived with my wife, my now wife, for about 2 years before we got married. We cohabitated. We lived in sin.
Sexual anarchy.
No. Oh no. We're both criminals. You see, both horrible, terrible criminals. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now, look, I know other people. My sister, for example, passed away a few years ago, but her and her boyfriend lived together for many years, many years, before they ended up getting married. They had a child together out of wedlock. Oh, no. But wait, they ended up getting married. They had a very, very stable, happy relationship, stable marriage when they did get married. And what's the issue here? What's the problem? No, the problem is the right wing trying to come in and police our lives. That's it. By the way, Michigan and Mississippi are the only two states that still have these ridiculous laws. And look, Mississippi, I'm actually not surprised. But this state, come on. So now a Democratic state representative, Stephanie Chang, said that, hey, look, this is not about a moral issue. This is about, like, basically tax benefits. It's not about changing people's behavior, not about marriage rates. It's really just about bringing us into the 21st century. You know, by not having these ridiculous laws on the books. Yes, but Stephanie, have you met Republicans? Their whole point is to bring us back to the 1950s or 1850s in some cases. They want to go backwards. But I mentioned tax benefits. And so part of this is also to try to extend tax benefits to couples that are not married, but living in the same household with dependents. Turns out Republicans are against tax cuts and tax breaks for families with children unless they're married. One Republican who did admittedly call the ban on cohabitation foolish said in a floor speech that he didn't support giving unmarried couples the ability to claim tax benefits for their dependents. What about the children? Don't you care about the children? Don't you want people to pay less taxes? No, it's not about that. It is about social engineering. It is about setting up a family unit that they approve of. He says, I believe children should grow up with married parents. Federal law, this is Albert, federal law prevents taxpayers from claiming some dependents if their relationship violates state law, which you're literally trying to change state law. The bill before us today would clear the way for two unmarried individuals living together to meet dependency requirements to claim those tax benefits. How dare you claim those tax benefits? Those should be going to corporations. Now, thankfully, the bill eliminating this passed April 19th in a 29-9 bipartisan vote, with all nay votes coming from Republicans, of course. So some of the Democrats, you've heard of Senator Mallory McMurrow. She had an epic speech months and months ago. Here's what she said. Quote, "What year are they living in? I hate to laugh, but I mean, I can't imagine in the year 2023 that either they themselves or people that they know have not lived together before they were married." Yeah. Albert and Senator Ed McBroom had spent most of the bulk of their remarks opining on how removing the law endorses what could occur to children parented by an unmarried couple in a so-called broken home. Albert then acknowledged the penalty should be removed. The policy of prohibiting cohabitation by having a criminal penalty is not good policy, as I mentioned before. But McBroom had said a repeal of this law is not promotion of the common good. Get out of our lives. Get out of our lives. He then cited some unsettled studies. Quote, "Cohabitation has been consistently shown to decrease the resilience and permanence of marriage and to decrease the potential that marriage happens at all. Broken homes are incredibly damaging to the future of children." Now, I mentioned there's conflicting studies. Let me give you an example. Since 2000, premarital cohabitation has been associated with a lower rate of divorce, once factors such as religiosity, education, and age at co-residence are accounted for. So it turns out, like all human interaction, it's kind of complicated. Now, a 2012 study in the Journal of Marriage and Family also concluded that since the mid-1990s, whether men or women cohabitated with their spouse prior to marriage is not related to marital stability. That same journal, by the way, published a contradictory study finding that couples who lived together before marriage had a lower divorce rate in their first year, but had higher divorce rates after 5 years. But yet another study published by the Council on Contemporary Families, a nonprofit group at the University of Texas at Austin, found that premarital cohabitation seemed to make couples less likely to divorce. So again, the studies are all over the place, but it doesn't matter. This conversation means nothing. Hey, if you don't want to extend tax benefits, okay, Have that conversation. But stop trying to get into people's personal lives and their relationships. That's what we're asking. Democrats aren't trying to police your personal life or your marriage, determine who and who cannot get married or when they should get married. No, this is Republicans. Republicans want to police the family unit. They want to define what the family is and to punish those, either with lack of tax benefits or to punish people in other ways, penalties, and going after, for example, the LGBTQ community and trying to eliminate gay marriage, to punish people who do not fit their limited definition of what they believe a family is. That's ultimately what these laws are about and why Republicans continue to defend them. Okay. All right. Let's go on to a good story. Republicans preaching about sanctity of marriage when most of them are their second or third wives or paying off sex workers. Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with sex workers, by the way. This is a pro sex worker show. Just saying. Also, let me just add. Never mind. Let's move on. Isn't there a sex toy limit in Texas? I think 6. Michigan has crazy laws in the book still. Yeah, I know. That's what they're trying to get rid of. Is all of these weirdo zombie laws, which I appreciate, while also doing other good things. So go sex workers indeed. Okay. The attempted right-wing takeover of school boards in this country has hit a bit of a snag, as scores of extreme candidates lost their elections this month. So 2 states, Illinois and Wisconsin, have decided to set up the wall, the blue wall, if you will, against a lot of these right-wing, very extreme anti-LGBTQ school board candidates. And it is wonderful. So let's go to Illinois. Democrats say that more than 70% of school board candidates they endorsed actually won their races, defeating anti-LGBTQ plus culture warrior candidates en masse. Fantastic. Republican candidates in Wisconsin also fared poorly. Moms for Liberty, this is the right-wing dark money group that's linked to wealthy Republican donors and has been behind a lot of these book banning campaigns, said only 8 of their endorsed candidates won election to school boards. And other conservative groups also reported disappointing performances. Yes! You love to see it. You know you do.
Oh yeah.
That's right. All right. Now, J.B. Pritzker, the Democratic governor of Illinois, said this after the results came in, quote, "Fortunately, the voters saw through the hidden extremists who were running for the school board, across the Chicago suburbs especially. Really, the extremists got trounced yesterday. I'm glad that those folks were shown up and, frankly, tossed out." Again, you love to see it. Turns out the American people not in favor of things like book bans. I know. And not only that, but this is something you don't see a lot. The local Democratic parties, they actually showed up and they fought. One of my main criticisms of Democrats isn't on their policy. It's on the fact that they have not fought. But in this case, they turned out, they got out, and they fought, and they won. And they won. I love it. The Democratic Party of Illinois, for example, spent $300,000 on these local races. according to the Chicago Tribune. They endorsed dozens of candidates. The party said about 84 out of 117 candidates they recommended ended up winning their races. I love it. Teachers' unions, including the Illinois Education Association, endorsed candidates in school board elections around the state. The IEA backed candidates in about 100 races, and about 90% of them won. Damn, I love it. So this is according to the organization's president, Kathy Griffin. No, not that Kathy Griffin. The other Kathy Griffin. Here's what she said. I would hope that the tide is turning to make sure that people who want to have those school board positions because they want to do good for our kids continue to get elected. I think that sometimes, or oftentimes, these fringe candidates are funded with dark money. That dark money comes from outside of our state. Well, I mentioned one of those groups, Moms for Liberty. Again, backed by incredibly wealthy conservative billionaires. There's another group. One of them was the 1776 Project. So that's a PAC that received funding from a billionaire GOP donor named Richard Unlein. Now, they had some big losses as well. They said that only a third of their 63 candidates it had backed in Illinois and Wisconsin won their races, while union-endorsed candidates won 2/3 of their school board races in Milwaukee alone. So there's one place where Republicans still did well, and that's in rural areas. So is that a surprise? No. There's more work to do because, believe it or not, I think that, rural school children also deserve a good education. I know, a quality education. What can I say? I'm apparently I'm woke.
The wokers.
That's right. One of them. No, you know why? Because first of all, I want the kids to be successful. I want them to learn facts. I want them to learn reality. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes learning facts and reality might make you more progressively minded. Not that that's the goal. Just want them to be successful in life. But hey, good. Now, we do have a lot of work, again, to make sure that everyone has that quality education to be able to be the most successful. But at least in most of these recent races, good old American values of freedom actually won. Again, they were running against people who supported all of these right-wing book bans. When you're banning the books, when you're burning the books even, as has happened in some places, you're the baddies. And look, a survey last year found that 73% of Americans opposed the book bans that have been put into place in places like Florida, for example, and enacted by a lot of these local school boards that have been filled by massive right-wingers. Turns out you cannot be on the side of freedom and then ban books, because they mention a topic that you might not like. Suddenly, they scream about censorship when it comes to saying racist things on Twitter, but I have no problem with banning all these books for mentioning LGBTQ people actually exist. Here's the story of one and their struggles. Here's the story of a young black child who experiences racism. Can't have that. Oh, no. Learning about that stuff.
Can't let that happen.
Well, the American people don't agree with you. The American people overwhelmingly are on the side of knowledge and facts and freedom. But despite the wins, in places where the right wing still holds power, they're still going full steam ahead on these. They don't care that the American people don't agree with them. They have some very specific Christo-fascist ideals. So while there are victories here and should be celebrated, we should take the W on these. Especially since, you had union-backed members that won massively. There's still a lot of fight left to retake, I should say to stop the tide of what is essentially Christian nationalism and anti-LGBTQ, anti-racist, or I should say just racist ideologies, to stop people who hold these values, so-called values, from being in charge of what our children can and cannot see, and can and cannot learn about. Okay. Well, that's it. A wonderful, good news story to end the week on. We don't get enough of those, do we? But hey, you gotta love it. I wish they'd try that hard to stop climate change. Well, that's another issue. We got a lot of problems. We got a lot of issues. But, we're going to do the best that we can. And, young people are really pushing the way. Pushing us forward, whether or not some of the holdovers on the right, despite how much they fight against it. Okay. So, why don't I read some super chats here? Always end your shows with a good story. It's better for all of us. Sometimes there's nothing but terrible news, though. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do that. Leave you off on a more positive note. All right. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the gifted sub. Jonathan Leiter, thank you for the gifted membership on YouTube. Really, really appreciate it. Koryu, thank you for the gifted membership. Thank you all for the gifts. Really, really appreciate it. And Gabby Mathis says, and this is a story about the Tennessee lawmaker, disgusting and inappropriate for a lawmaker. Not just for a lawmaker, just disgusting and inappropriate in general. And glad he's gone. Tennessee, you got some house cleaning to do. It's true though. Okay, let's go to Twitch here. Melanated Dragon, thank you for subbing with Prime. Really, really appreciate that. Hey, if you do have Prime, you can use that to help us out on Twitch, and I really appreciate you. When you all are able to do that. So thank you very much. Okay, when do we raid in to? Haven't done a Lumi raid for a while. Lumiru, excellent creator, non-binary, uses they them pronouns, talks about a lot of interesting stuff. So make sure to I'm gonna send you over to them and have fun and enjoy your weekend. Love you all. Thank you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. We'll see you all Monday.
It's not a salami sandwich.
Disappointed!
The Republican Party's racist.
Oh my God! The amazing!
Resurrection is about the people.
No.
Wet ass P-word. There's some whores in this house.
Tighten up my meat. I like my meat tight. You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
Obama.